There are certain terms and definitions that are important to understand clearly as they're used in the code and will be mentioned throughout the course. The first definition is about what an alteration is. An alteration is a physical change to any component that has design implications affecting the pressure retaining capability of a pressure vessel beyond the scope described in the existing data reports. And what should not be considered alterations? Any comparable or duplicate replacement. For example, if I replace a 4-inch nozzle on a vessel with another identical 4-inch nozzle, because for some reason it needs to be replaced, this is not considered an alteration. The addition of any reinforced nozzle that is equal to or smaller than the size of the existing reinforced nozzles, and the addition of nozzles that do not require reinforcement. It's very important to take mechanical loads into account. If a connection has mechanical loads applied, such as those from an associated piping system, it may impose greater stress. We know that if we connect a pipe to the nozzle of the equipment, that pipe will tend to move due to thermal effects. When the pipe shifts, it generates a series of moments and loads on the nozzle that induce stresses in the vessel, which can complicate alterations by changing the original conditions. An authorized pressure vessel inspector, according to API 510, is an employee of an authorized inspection agency who is qualified and certified to perform inspections under this inspection code, including Annex B. Whenever the term inspector is used in API 510, it refers to an authorized or certified pressure vessel inspector who has passed the corresponding certification exam. This certification exam evaluates not only knowledge of API 510, but also knowledge of the codes that complement API 510. So now the question arises, considering that API 510 is not mandatory, is a certified API 510 inspector required in an industrial plant? If the equipment is ASME stamped and the ASME certification is to be maintained, then an authorized inspector must be present. Authorized Inspection Agency. This agency can take different forms. It may be an inspection organization within the jurisdiction of pressure vessels. It may be an insurance company licensed to underwrite insurance for pressure vessels. It may be the owner or user who maintains an inspection organization for activities related solely to their own equipment. And it may even be independent inspectors employed by or under contract with the owner user. Condition Monitoring Locations, or CMLs. These are designated areas on pressure vessels where periodic examinations are performed to directly assess and monitor the condition of the vessel, such as corrosion or cracking, using a variety of examination methods and techniques based on the susceptibility to damage mechanisms. These points must be accessible and easy to inspect regularly. Corrosion rate, the rate of metal loss over time. This loss may be due to erosion, corrosion, and/or chemical reactions with the environment. It can occur either internally or externally. Damage mechanism, any type of deterioration that may result in failures or defects capable of affecting the integrity of pressure vessels. For example, corrosion, cracking, erosion, denting, and other mechanical impacts. These damage mechanisms are covered in API RP 571. When detecting damage mechanisms, the first thing we'll typically find is not a failure itself, but an indication. a response or evidence resulting from the application of a non-destructive test, which may or may not be relevant or represent defects or failures upon further analysis. That indication may then become an imperfection, which refers to defects or other discontinuities observed during inspection or examination that may or may not exceed the applicable acceptance criteria. And that imperfection may or may not lead to a defect, which is essentially a discontinuity or a combination of discontinuities that, by their nature or cumulative effect, cause a part or product to fail to meet the applicable minimum acceptance standards or specifications. For example, the total length of a crack. So now let's define something that's very important to understand clearly, the maximum allowable working pressure, or MAWP for short. MAWP is the maximum gauge pressure permitted at the top of a pressure vessel in its operating position and at a designated temperature. So now we ask, how is this operating pressure determined? Is it the same as the design pressure? The answer is no. MAWP is not the design pressure. It's based on calculations that use the minimum thickness for all critical elements of the vessel, excluding the thickness designated for corrosion, and adjusted for applicable static pressure and other non-pressure loads. The design pressure is the pressure used in the original design to calculate the required thickness of the equipment. However, that thickness is often increased during manufacturing, for example, due to purchasing plates with standard dimensions. So, the actual maximum pressure for the equipment may be higher than the design pressure. It's important to note that MAWP by default will always be greater than the design pressure, except when it's intentionally defined to be the same, although this is not common practice. Let's take a closer look at the diagram shown on the screen so as to better understand it. In a plant, we will have certain operating requirements, i.e., specific pressure and temperature conditions. These requirements will generally include an additional margin. This margin accounts for transient phenomena that may occur in a system. Once these margins are considered, we obtain the maximum operating pressure, or MOP. This pressure may or may not exist depending on the conditions of each plant. An additional margin for transient phenomena is then added to this pressure, resulting in the design pressure. Finally, above the design pressure, due to margin from the extra thickness we mentioned earlier, we get MAWP. It's important to keep in mind that the extra thickness for corrosion does not contribute to the structural strength of the equipment under internal pressure, so all the calculations mentioned are performed without considering that extra thickness. It's important to understand that the MAWP is always measured at the top of the equipment. This is done to avoid accounting for the hydrostatic pressure caused by the liquid column inside the equipment. If we want to determine the maximum pressure the equipment can withstand without overstressing it, we must consider the lowest value, which occurs at the top of the equipment. Here we see a nameplate showing a design pressure of 3.5 bar, FV, which stands for full vacuum for a given temperature. And on the same plate at the bottom, we see an MAWP of 415 kPa, which is equivalent to 4.15 bar. Another important definition to keep in mind is what's considered a major repair. It's crucial to understand this clearly because major repairs are associated with a hydrostatic test afterwards. Minor repairs, on the other hand, do not require this test. A major repair is defined as any work that is not an alteration and that removes or replaces a significant part of the pressure boundary, excluding nozzles. For example, when replacing a head. If corroded areas are found on the head of a pressure vessel, a decision may be made to cut circumferentially, remove the head, and install a new one. In that case, we're dealing with a major repair, which will clearly require a new hydrostatic test of the entire vessel. There are also minor repairs, such as repairing or replacing a portion of the shell if necessary, or minor weld deposits to compensate for thickness loss due to corrosion, as an example. So it's important to understand the difference between major and minor repairs. If the repair work results in a change to the design temperature, the minimum design metal temperature, or the maximum allowable working pressure, the work will be considered an alteration. This is because the vessel's ability to withstand pressure is evidently affected, and in such cases, a re-rating of the equipment must be carried out. Temporary repairs are those performed on pressure vessels to restore sufficient integrity to allow safe operation until permanent repairs can be made. And here we enter a bit of a gray area, because this will depend on common sense and the specifics of each case. First, we should know when we'll be able to carry out a permanent repair and take the equipment out of service. This is usually during a plant shutdown. Then we should also perform a brief sensitivity analysis when planning a temporary repair, taking into account the criticality of the system being repaired. That's why the code in this case is quite ambiguous and does not specify time limits. Another important term to understand is required thickness. This thickness is calculated according to the design code. In this case, we're referring to ASME Section 8 code, and Division 1 provides calculation thicknesses for different components. On the screen, we see the thickness calculation for a cylinder, which is the most common and straightforward case. Naturally, the design code establishes all the methodologies and calculation rules for the various components. So, the required thickness is the minimum thickness, excluding any corrosion allowance and any tolerance, that each element of our equipment needs in order to withstand the loads acting on the vessel. These loads include internal and external pressure, seismic loads, loads on connections, and thermal loads. Alternatively, the required thickness can be reevaluated and reviewed using fitness for service analysis in accordance with API 579-1. An in-service inspection is one that's performed from the outside of a pressure vessel while it's in operation using non-destructive testing methods. These inspections can be carried out under normal operating pressure and temperature conditions. If a thickness measurement is to be taken and there is a defined risk to the person performing the measurement, depending on the criticality of the equipment, the operating conditions can, if necessary and feasible from an operational standpoint, be adjusted. The integrity operating window is basically the established limits for the different operational parameters of the process that can affect the integrity of the system in case of deviations. These parameters can be physical or chemical variables that may affect the integrity of the equipment. Examples include temperatures, pressures, fluid velocities, water or chemical injection rates, and levels of corrosive or erosive components, chemical composition, and so on. In other words, the equipment will operate within a zone known as the integrity operating window, and within that window, there will be defined minimum and maximum parameters. Above those parameters, we'll have a troubleshooting zone. Then there will be a buffer zone that acts as a safety margin. And beyond that zone, operating the vessel at those values is considered unacceptable. A program must be implemented and maintained to establish and monitor operating windows. The window is implemented to prevent exceeding process parameters that impact integrity. Deviations and trend changes within the limits established in the window must alert inspection and engineering personnel. All these terms and definitions can be found in Part 3 of API 510, and they'll serve to help us better understand and interpret the code.